Welcome to Girl Go Get Your Stuff. I'm your host, Brenda Bailey, and today I have with me Reverend Celita Way and Miss Kelley, voice for the Voiceless. Hi, Kelley.
Hey.
So good to have you here. She actually interviewed me on her radio show, so now I want to interview her on my upcoming show. How are you doing today?
I am awesome.
Today I have a few topics that I wanted to discuss, and the first one is going to be fear. What part has fear played in your life, and how have you been able to overcome it?
I grew up in a lot of fear with my dad being as abusive as he was. I learned it was like being in a prison. And so all I knew was fear when I grew up, because I didn't know if I was going to say the wrong thing. I didn't know if I was going to dress the wrong way. I didn't know if I was going to act the wrong way. And I didn't know what was going to set him off. Mm-hmm. So at an early age and growing up from childhood on up, I never knew. It was like walking on eggshells. Mm-hmm. And so fear played a huge part of how the rest of my life came to pass, because then everything I did was fear-based. It wasn't until probably about 6 years ago that I have been free from the prison of being in that fear. And it's only been by the grace of God and being able to build that relationship with God and trusting in Him, and learning that I'm not supposed to fear man, but I do fear God.
Yes.
And a healthy fear.
Yes, yes. Also, I want to discuss quitting. You know, we all get at some point of our life, we quit in our lives. We just quit. We start something, we don't finish it. We look for other people to finish things for us. Tell me a little bit about what part of quitting played in your life.
I did that a lot. I quit. I would start something, then I wouldn't finish it, and then I would start something else, and I wouldn't finish that. And I gave up on myself. I quit on me. There were times that suicide just seemed like such an option for me, because everybody else quit on me. So maybe I need to do the same thing. There were times I tried to slit my wrist. There were times I tried to drink myself to death and, get high. And but quitting is an option now. I mean, no matter what it is. And it's funny because I think you and I talked about this the other day with my book.
Yes.
I've been writing a book for 3 years, and up until just about a month or so ago, I've been on page, 7, 8, somewhere in there. I am up to almost page 20 now.
I am so excited for you.
I am excited. And the reasons I kept stopping was, first, I didn't want to relive what I was writing about, because a lot of the things that I'm writing about are very painful. The other thing was my family. What little family I do have left, but they don't talk to me anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But I just didn't want to make it worse.
Exactly.
But you know what? Denial is, it's a hard thing. They cannot accept some of the things that I'm going to be writing, and it is what it is, and this is what I went through. And so in order to help others, I have to be transparent and being able to put it out there. So, I quit for 3 years on my book, but I can't do that, because how dare I rob someone else of them healing?
Right. Exactly. Oh my God, that is so great, because my sister and I, when I first started talking about it, it was a few years back. We had talked about writing a book together and doing some things. So I went to a class they had at church, and I learned how to do some things, and then I would pass them on to her and what have you. But she wasn't ready. And at first, I was a little disturbed that she wasn't ready, because you're supposed to write this book with me, so how come you're not doing it? But she wasn't supposed to write that book with me. I was supposed to write that book myself. Not saying that we won't write one together, but that particular book, God told me to do it. She hadn't heard from God yet. So and she's just not hearing this today. For a while, I was like, man, I ask her sometime, you wrote something? She's like, yeah, I might have some. I'm like, when you gonna give it to me? When you gonna show it to me? Whatever. So, I know, that just hit a point. Blame game. We'll talk a little bit about blame game.
How much time do you have?
I have much time as you need to get your point across. How big of a role did blame game play in your life?
Really huge. I look at the blame game as the victim mentality. I kept the victim mentality for so long. If my dad hadn't have been abusive, if my dad hadn't have molested me, if my dad hadn't have done these things, okay, so that's what started it.
Mm-hmm.
Then if this man hadn't have done this man hadn't have done that, if my sister wasn't looked at as the goddess of the family, and so it was so easy for me to just blame everybody else.
Yes.
I had a role to play
Yes,
in quite a bit of what I did and what I had been through. It was some bad choices that I made. And yes, it may have started off from what I went through as a kid, but ultimately there were choices that I made. So yeah, it was so easy to blame, but I'll tell you something that's gotten me out of that a lot. My daughter went through a lot. She's gone through a lot with everything that I've been through. She's been through it all. And I listened to her conversation, and I'm like, wow, she sounds just like I did.
Familiar spirit.
She sounds just like I did. And when I hear someone else who is so quick to blame someone else, but what God has been teaching me for a few years now is, all right, it's you take responsibility for your own actions. I can't blame anybody else for decisions. I have a sound mind, and I have free will, and I can be stubborn and hard-headed and make decisions on a whim. And so I have to be able to take responsibility for my actions. And so the blame game, it just makes you miserable. It just keeps you in misery. And I just can't live like that.
Yay! Now we're going to come to the big one. I used to be, and I'm still working on me, because God is always giving me new things to work on myself before I can even get in front of other people. I'm still in a process, because everything is a process. Procrastination. Did you say who?
My husband is a big procrastinator.
No, we ain't talking about your husband. We ain't talking about your husband. We talking blame game.
Okay, so this, did you just hear that it's taking me 3 years to write this book? Yeah, there are times I've gotten a lot better with that, because I just don't have time. I don't have time to procrastinate. I'm either going to do it or I'm not.
Right.
It's just that simple. There's times that I get too many things on my plate, and I just kind of forget about something, or I think, okay, I've got to do this, but I don't have the time to do it. So, but as far as just straight up procrastination, I've had to learn that with my scheduling. Do I have time for this? Do I really need to be doing this? Because I don't want to let anybody down. So that's been a hard road. But yeah, God's still working on it.
That's the role that procrastination has played in my life. The thing is, some things I hold back on and I won't do because I don't want to get a whole lot on my plate.
Right.
So, because I'm not with this being stressed out stuff. I just don't like stress. A little stress is healthy. We have some stress, but stressed out over doing things or work, that's why I procrastinate about a lot of things. Let me look at this and I'll let you know because I don't want to be stressed out about trying to do stuff.
That is so awesome. And you know, procrastination, you know, sometimes I think it's a time robber. Because we can actually rob time with procrastinating. I really, we can go deep on that at another time, but I can get deep with some procrastination.